Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, proudly presents to you another fantastic episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom. That's right, that's where we take the spotlight and shine it on one. That's right, one professional wrestling fan that we feel stands out from the rest. With that being said, I'm your host, That Ocean Crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching. Where's he going next? Nobody knows. Three continents down, three more to go. No cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about me. No, you see, we have a special guest tonight. This is a young lady who is actually based in California. That's right. Shout out to all our listeners, our followers, our supporters over there in California. Love those California burritos and those tacos as well too. I know Rob Bass would as well too, my co-host. But I actually got to meet her during WrestleMania week, and man, I was just so amazed by her energy. Without further ado, everybody, welcome to the show, Wendy Mendez. Wendy, how you doing tonight?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the introduction. And I'm doing very well, and I hope everyone else is doing well as well.
Yeah, yeah. So for those of y'all that are actually watching right now, you're wondering, Remy, didn't you have her on? Remy, what's going on? Well, that episode does not count because we had technical difficulties, and I was like, you know what? Let's run it back. That's not how we do things at Ringside Society. We like good quality stuff, so we were like, yeah, we're gonna run it back. You know, we got a whole we got better equipment, so this is where we are right now. So, how is everything over there in California?
Going good so far. The usual, I'd say.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. So, man, I still can't believe, man, WrestleMania week. It was definitely a vibe over there. I know y'all definitely enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a lot to see. You know, I got to see a lot of people I never thought I would see in person, and lo and behold, like they're right there in front of me. You know, in the ring and whatnot. And man, I tell you, you're so lucky to live in California, man. Y'all are definitely a great wrestling scene over there.
Yeah, I was really excited when Collective was in California this year. Saves travel money too, so that's very convenient. Very convenient. That's a
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah, so with that being said, you know, WrestleMania is going to be over in Philadelphia next year, which is going to be easier for me because now I don't have to fly. You know, I'm here in Brooklyn, New York. All I got to do is hop on a nice little Greyhound bus, and in 2 hours I'll be in Philadelphia. Do you think you'll actually be attending next year, or you're just going to be watching it from the comfort of your own home?
I don't know. We'll see because don't get me wrong, I do love the WrestleMania event. It was great. I finally went to my first Wrestle WrestleMania for both nights, and that was really special to me. But I hate the ending. I'm one of those that hate the ending of the Roman Reigns versus Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes.
And the thing that really upset me now, it's like, okay, the ending happened, but now it's like you just I don't know if you saw the draft, but now you know Cody's now on SmackDown, or I think
Cody's
no,
on
Cody's on
Raw.
Raw. Cody's on Raw. Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, and now they're introducing a new belt, and it's like, okay, now so what? You're gonna put that belt on Cody, saying, hey, you know, you didn't beat Roman, but you didn't get to finish the story, but here's a consolation prize or a participation trophy. It's like honestly speaking, I don't know if you're gonna agree with me, but I really and truly think they should give somebody who's never faced Roman that title. I would be cool if they put it on LA Knight, somebody that has not faced Roman, because it's gonna. I don't know. It's just a to me. It's just like it's gonna come off as a participation trophy. I'm sorry, but that's my thing. What are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts on that one is just basically I don't know if you've seen past history of the draft where the WWE champion was on one brand and the World Heavyweight champion was on the other brand. They're
Yeah,
trying to do that, but in a different twist, quote unquote twist. It's not a twist. I'm like, dude, you're just splitting up people, splitting up titles, and splitting up everything. It is nothing new. And even if you do follow through with this draft, it makes no sense right now.
to me, I don't know how far back well you've been watching wrestling, but um, there was a time where they actually had SmackDown exclusive events and Raw exclusive events.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
That's
put
exactly what I mean. Like in the past draft, they really sticked through of what it is. Whatever brand you're stuck on that brand until there is another draft. And if you get picked from a different brand, then you're stuck with that other brand. And whatever championship's on that brand, it's on that brand. You're stuck on. But
yeah.
at this point, I'm just like over the WWE like politic thing and the excuses. So I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I was hoping they would split up some tag teams, man. Like split up like individually have people. Now you're drafting whole stables. Like why are you drafting whole stables and tag teams? Like every tag team doesn't have to have. I know you've definitely seen this a Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty breakup, where
Yeah,
one guy does something drastic to the other and he becomes a heel, and then like every tag team doesn't need that. They can be like, okay, you're going your way, I'm going my way. I'll see you on the flip side. Like I don't know. Like I'm convinced I could write this stuff. I'm telling you, I could write this stuff. They don't have to pay me a lot of money. I could definitely write some stuff. I don't know. It's like they need some fresh writers, man. Like I don't know. They need some fresh writers. So, like I said, the last interview doesn't count. I think we got rid of it on YouTube. If it hasn't, if we have, I think we already got rid of it on YouTube. But how did you become a fan of professional wrestling? What was the event or the pay per view that you saw that got you hooked from there on out?
I started wrestling when I was 10 years old. I was watching Friday Night SmackDown. Mostly my oldest brother, Victor, was watching Friday Night SmackDown, and then I watched it, the one with like the silver fists, and
Okay,
I was totally hooked with it. I saw superstars doing a crazy like moonsault, moonsaults, somersaults, and like beyond imagining moves. Even their ring gear was like, oh my god, it was so cool. It was like superheroes coming to life through my views of my young self.
okay, that's cool. That's what's up. Yeah, that SmackDown with the silver fist, man, that was an iconic thing. I would never forget it. Like it was definitely it was def that was definitely a great era. I think that was around for part of the Attitude Era, and then there was the Ruthless Aggression Era, which were two great eras. I like the Ruthless Aggression Era even more a bit. Um, and yeah, it was that was definitely a great time. Yeah. So, who are some of your favorites you enjoyed watching growing up?
I know a few, like, of course, The Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, Kurt Angle, um, as well as the few divas of the past, but I call them superstars instead of divas, like Trish, Lita, Ivory, Jacqueline, Tori, Stacy,
Okay.
and but mostly the one person that I truly looked up to was Sting. Sting was my number one.
Cool, cool. And have you ever gotten to meet him, or were you like, have you only been
Oh
like
yeah.
able to see him?
I've gotten
Okay.
to meet him twice actually within 2019, I believe. One time it was in Vegas where he answered my question in one of his panels, and then we met up at the meet and greet later. And he was just a real genuine guy. And then at Chicago, funny story, I was just eating a burrito waiting for other segments for Starcast in Chicago. He saw me and he's like, you're that girl that I saw in Vegas." So I'm like, "Oh yeah." Like a small world. I didn't think he would notice me. And he did, so yay, bucket list crossed.
I'm glad you were able to do it. Wendy, I mean this in the most respectful way. I think you could pull off a mean Sting cosplay. I could definitely see you in the trench coat
Whoa. Thank
with the
you.
bat and the paint and everything. And I could definitely see you coming out going, "It's showtime." And for those of you that are watching, she may be small. This woman has hella energy. How I met her was I was at the Dark Arts Las Vegas show. It was which was in California, obviously. And I heard this little voice going, "Da, da, da, da." I'm like, "Who is that?" And then LA Wrestle Chick, who we had on the show previously, was like, that's Wendy." I'm like, "Yo, I like your energy. I gotta have you on the show." She can be a
Oh,
smart fight. I'm sorry, Kathy Knight, my other co-host couldn't be here because between two of y'all, oh geez, I don't think the wrestling world wants that smoke. But and then the second time I saw you was at Santino Bros by the Ukrainian Culture Center, and I made this little joke. I was like, "Are you following me? Are you stalking me?" She's like, "No, are you stalking me?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm just joking. My bad. I'm just." Yeah, but I could definitely see you like doing the whole, Sting costume, and then you coming out saying, "Hey everybody, it's showtime."
it's showtime, folks.
There you go. You got it.
I would love to do that. I would love to do a Sting cosplay.
I gotta
It
say,
would truly be an honor, in all honesty.
yeah. Hey, I once dressed up as I don't know if you remember this guy, the Blue Meanie. I once dressed up as him for Halloween 10 years ago, and I showed him, and he was like, "Wow, nice." Yeah, and it was the I think the following week, or like, yeah, our thing is that it was that same weekend, that same Halloween weekend. I met Blue Meanie, and I didn't have the makeup and everything. I had like the mask on, the black mask that I painted on myself, and the blue hair, but I didn't have it on when I met him. And I was like, "Hey, Meanie, look, but I had the blue World Order shirt." And he was like, "Wow, that's cool, that's nice." And I took a picture with him. Yeah, it's always crazy, like meeting the people you grew up watching and support and so on. Yeah. So um so in terms of so California wrestling, man, y'all are larger than life out there, man. Like y'all got man. I saw my first show back in 2015. My first ever wrestling event in California. It was AWS. The Stoner Bros were on there. You had Shotzi before she got signed to WWE. Nicole Savoy and several other people were on that card. It was a wonderful card. I actually enjoyed it. Um, what are some promotions if that you yourself enjoy watching, that you enjoy? I already know one that you're gonna name, but what are some that you definitely enjoy going to?
Besides GCW, of course, the first one I've ever went to. Fun fact: GCW was the first indie show I've ever went to,
Okay.
and I've been hooked with independent wrestling ever since. Ever since then, I went to different promotions, like of course Pandemonium, and then currently Winter Circle, and then Santino Bros, and then I went to Hood Slam, and then I went to West Coast Pro, and then I went to Level Up. Shout out to all the promotions that are out there. I hope I didn't forget one, but if I do forget one in California, I am terribly, terribly sorry. but those promotions are to my near and dear to my heart. With PWG as well, Prestige. I can't forget those as well. All of the promotions I just mentioned, those are near and dear to my heart, and I love all of them. Rather it's the Bay Area or it's North California or Southern California, I just love all of them.
So Pro Wrestling Gorilla, they're still running. I hadn't heard anything from them in a while. Maybe it's just me, but
I haven't heard anything in a while either, but I was there at Battle of Los Angeles earlier this year when Speedball McBailey won the whole tournament, and the match between him and Konosuke Takeshita, it was amazing.
okay. Um, yeah, I remember like watching them like PWG, like back in the day, like back in like 2014. I
13
think.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was like when you had like the Young Bucks were still on the Indies. Kevin Steen was still on the Indies. Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole was there, and that was I was watching during that period. And the first show I saw, I was hooked. I was like, wow, I'm gonna tune into this, from here on out. And then, I had some stuff happen, joined the Navy, and of course, like a lot of wrestling I was watching, didn't really have time to watch it. Um, but yeah, like I hadn't heard anything from PWG in like a minute. So, but I know that they're very enjoyable, and it's always a good time. Seeing them, whether you're there in person or watching them from somewhere else. Yeah,
Hmm.
Pandemonia is pretty good. I'll never forget that battle royal. Oh, geez,
That was
that was
so much
fun.
fun.
Yeah, seeing people like Dark Sheik. Dark Sheik was there. You had Sandra Moon,
Yeah.
and like I said, I still can't get over like these are people that I actually see on the internet, and then it's like you see them and it's like wow, like I can't believe I'm seeing them like up close, you know. But yeah, it's definitely yeah, it was definitely a great vibe, and I'll definitely be back to watch some more. So you travel for wrestling as well too, right? Because you say you went to Starcast in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. That was back in 2018 and yeah, 2018 or 2019. And I basically, long story short, like my life was spiraling. So I just packed up everything. I told my bosses like I'm putting in my times off and at my old job. And I said, F it, let's go. And I did. I took that long leap of faith, so to speak.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that must have been fun, like going to a whole new place, checking out, the scene and whatnot. Um, yeah, I've never really seen wrestling in the Midwest. That's the one part I haven't seen wrestling in. I've seen wrestling in Texas, the West Coast, obviously here in the East Coast, and also in Florida. But I've never seen it in the Midwest, and I hope I get to actually enjoy it one of these days. I hope you get to have you gotten to see the East Coast scene? Like, have you ever gotten to see wrestling over here
The
in New
only
York or Philly or?
the only time I've been to East Coast is the one I mentioned, Chicago, and I was at last year's collective in Texas in the Midwest. So that was a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
fun too.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, you being a wrestling fan, have you ever thought about getting into wrestling yourself, like as a wrestler, manager, promoter, ring announcer?
Oh, there are a lot of things I would love to do, but I think the number one that stands out to me is to be a manager. I would love to be a manager. That's something
Yeah.
that's always been in my mind.
Honestly speaking, I think you can make it happen. I could definitely see you killing it. I could definitely see you riding up the crowd. And Wendy, if you ever make that happen, please let us know because we'll definitely have you back on here as a main guest. And don't be surprised
Of
because we've had
course.
people. We've had people that have been in your position that have been a guest on this segment, which is for the fans, that actually ended up getting into wrestling. I know two people off the top of my head. One of them, a woman by the name of Ella J, who went from being just like you, a wrestling fan and a podcaster, which we'll talk about that in a minute, to being a commentator for Capital Championship Wrestling (CCW), which is a all women's promotion. And then we had another guy who was on our show who appeared on this same segment, and lo and behold, he told me that he's gonna start training at the Nightmare Factory. He trained in the second ever class that graduated from there, and now he is a wrestler slash promoter. He actually has his own company. And a fun fact, that's his name is the Diamond Sheik, and he actually crafted the Dynamite Diamond ring that MJF wears. Yes,
Ooh.
yeah. So that's why yeah, that's why we do this, because that's why we do what we do, because you never know where somebody's gonna be in life. No one knows where Wendy Mendez is gonna be. We might see her in AEW. Imagine somebody or WWE. I'm just saying.
I
Yeah.
it really is a lovely thought, but we'll see where life takes me.
Yeah, it's funny. Brett Lauderdale, I met him when he was a referee 10 years ago. He was a referee for Pro Wrestling Syndicate in New Jersey. I met the man. I shook his hand. Now he's a promoter. He's the owner of GCW. So, yeah, life is funny. Yeah. So I just got a few more questions, then we're going to call it a wrap. So you are
Okay.
also, not only are you a wrestling fan, but you're also a podcaster. So and you're actually a podcaster for two podcasts. So tell us a bit about that.
Oh, the podcast is mostly them. They sometimes have me as their special guest, or just to get my a fan's perspective or my perspective of things that are going on in wrestling, or calling the matches within the card, before the event happens.
Okay.
But it mostly belongs to them. I'm not much of a podcaster because I'm more of a person that just gives my opinion, and if people like my opinion, all right, cool. And if people don't like my opinion, all right, that's cool too, because we all have our differences, and that's the beauty of wrestling, because usually differences is what makes things work.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I always say you are entitled to have your own opinion. If you like something or don't like something, that's your opinion. My only problem is if you're obnoxious with it. Like, I've seen some fans that are like, "Geez, okay, we get it, but do you have to go that extra? We get it. Just calm down, you
Hmm.
know." But you're right. You're definitely right. So with that being said, since you like to give your own opinions, we'll definitely be having you back on one of our hopefully one of our topics episodes, or our predictions episodes if you're down. Because we normally do like a predictions episode for upcoming AEW and WB events. So we'll definitely be having you back on. So I just have I just have pretty much I guess one more question. So in regards to pro wrestling, like promotions in general, are there any promotions that you've seen that are on your bucket list to attend?
Like the ones I really want to go, or
Yeah, like a company, like let's say you've never been to an AEW show, or like I mentioned, you've never been to a CCW show. Are there any companies that you've seen that you definitely want to check out?
Of course, some of the stuff would be mostly East Coast
Okay.
stuff, but also like Midwest. Like, cause I would, if opportunity presents itself, I would love to see Beyond Wrestling because I've seen their shows and it is fantastic. I love
Okay.
it. And in the East Coast, I would love to attend freelance wrestling. That is something. That is something interesting. Also, St. Louis Anarchy. I would love to attend one of their shows as well. I know there's another Chicago-based promotion, but I forget the name on top of my head. But another promotion I would love to definitely go within the East Coast is Defy Wrestling. That is
Okay.
another promotion I would love to. I would love to try to go because I've seen their show. I always stream their shows. It is fantastic, and yeah, like so many promotions, so little time. So we'll see.
Wow, that's a great list, and I hope you get a chance to attend all those shows. And I always tell people, like, if you got a chance to travel, travel. Watch wrestling
Yeah,
everywhere. Check out wrestling everywhere. If you're on the
yeah,
East Coast, check out what's in the West Coast. If you're on the West Coast, check out what's going on the East Coast. And if you know what's going on in both coasts, check out what's going on in the Midwest and the South and all that. I mean, when I was stationed in Japan for 3 years, I was watching wrestling all over. I was watching the West Coast Wrestling Connection in Portland. I don't know if it was Portland, Oregon, but it was in Oregon. I was watching Reality of Wrestling in Texas. I was watching so many promotions that it was crazy. So if I could do it from being all the way in Japan, there's no reason why you can't hop on your computer and just check out Fight TV or YouTube and see what's going on. You know, a lot of great stuff out there. So, Wendy, I just gotta say, on behalf of myself, my two co-hosts who couldn't be here tonight, but eventually you're gonna meet them, Kathy Knight and Rob Bass. We just gotta say, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on our show, and I definitely hope you get to check out all those promotions you mentioned and so on. And also, thank you for giving us another chance. I know last time we had some technical difficulties. I
yeah.
was
It's okay.
pretty much.
It's completely understandable. It's completely understandable, and I was so happy that like we both have this opportunity to do this interview again together because it usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it happened because like my goal is to like always try to spread the love of wrestling. Yeah, there's gonna be some toxic stuff here and there, but my goal is to always spread light, like the happiness and the joys of wrestling, but at the same time show people and help them better understanding of wrestling, like not just through fans perspective but through wrestlers perspective, through production perspective and staff perspective, promoter perspective, because everybody thinks, oh, it's easy. No, it's not. It's tough.
Yeah, that's what gets me. Like, people think like everything is like it's all easy. Like, it's not. Like, you have to pay attention. You constantly have to be on the ball. Um, with everything that's something I noticed when because I was a one time timekeeper for CCW, and I was like, I constantly had to pay attention as to when the ref was telling me, "Hey, ring the bell to start the match," or "Ring the bell to end the match," and so on. So you constantly have to be on the ball, and that's what a lot of I feel like a lot of fans don't get. Like, you're seeing the show, but you don't even know what goes on behind the curtain. So
Yeah, that's why I always tell people try to be respectful as much as you can. Like as much as you can, like show appreciation because they're doing this for us. At least we could do is give back, like give back in return. In return.
yeah, definitely. And I'm glad you see it too. Because not to me, like I said, I get a feeling that not many fans like, see how things are. You know, and even with like the people that make the costumes, like the gear and everything, they have to be like, you can't just sit down. You have deadlines that you have to meet for clients because they have an upcoming show and they want to look presentable. So, and if they don't look presentable, the promoter's going to be like, "What the hell? I hired this person. You get me this? I'm not going to hire you back again." And then that person's out. That person's like they just lost, um, an avenue of income, or one of the parts in their avenues of income. So, in their avenue of income. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. But before we shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, or especially California wrestling, and also to listen to the podcast?
My only social media is Instagram at Wendy Mendez 3. The reason I don't have Twitter and Facebook is because like it's too much drama and I don't like that much stress on myself.
Right.
So, and that's another thing. I hope I have this 1 minute opportunity to talk about that. Mental health is super important. And if you need like time for yourself or talk to somebody, don't be afraid to ask and or do that because as a fan, yeah, I do get tired from like the traveling and the rides, and I get tired. I get sleepy. I get burned out, and that's completely normal. I tell myself that it's completely normal. Like from work to school to wrestling shows, it can be a lot. And there are days I feel burnt out, and it's okay to feel burnt out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Um, it's always good. I always tell people take a break. You know,
Yeah.
and yes, we all like wrestling, but also have something else that you're also interested in too. Like, don't just have like one particular thing. I'm also into comics. I love superhero movies. I also watch. What was I watching the other day? I have several shows that I watch. I'm about to go watch The Equalizer. Hopefully, I have a new episode. I don't know if they have a new episode on now, but I watch several
Yeah.
shows. Which I travel, and I'm also into photography. So
Yeah.
wrestling is
Same.
not just my own thing. It's me having those various hobbies that keeps me like going. And I encourage anybody else. Yes, wrestling is fine. I'm not telling you to give up wrestling, but you
Oh yeah,
know
no, of course. That doesn't mean I'm giving up wrestling. I like other things too. Like yeah, I watch a few drama, a few movies. Like I play video games, and whatever movies on or series is on the airport, I watch it, or I draw a little bit, or I write down schedules of the shows I'm going to, or just write down some short novel or poetry because I do like writing the stuff,
okay,
whatever
awesome.
comes to the top of my head. But also, like, be respectful to wrestlers too who want that mental break as well because they go through so much more than any of us.
Yeah, yeah, you're definitely right about that. That poetry thing, that's pretty good. That's pretty cool as well too. Especially if you mix the poetry with the wrestling, that'd be pretty cool as well. you
Oh,
know.
haiku wrestling like involves body slams or climbing up shelves and elbow someone, giving the people's elbow.
Yeah, or like was it high risk maneuvers and haikus? That's
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'll probably write one.
yeah, there you go. Hey, you never know. Hey, you never know, man. Just I'd say give it a wrestling has actually inspired many people to take various avenues. People have made toys, action figures. One person made a. I've seen people make comic books. You never know. Just give it a
I
shot.
Yeah, I love how like it sparks the idea, especially dream matches. Oh, it sparks up so many ideas on top of
So
my
funny,
head.
funny thing you mentioned dream matches. We had a guy by the name of I forgot what his name was, but he runs official dream match. He has a whole a t-shirt line, and he has um on the t-shirts he has dream matches. Like he had one, he had CM Punk versus Randy Savage, and he had several. It's really unique. I would highly recommend it. But he thought about dream matches and roll with it, and he's been doing really great. So yeah,
Nice.
so you never know. Just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. You never know who's gonna be interested. But with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and a nap. Maybe not in that order, but before I partake in those activities, if you want to find me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool stuff, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Remy Blue. I'm also on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. You can find me there as well too. And our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group, and we also have Spotify. We're also on Spotify, and we also have an official Teespring. We have no, not official. We have a Teespring store. Sorry, where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, we have tank tops, we have hoodies, we have long sleeve shirts. We even have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. Heck, I'm even rocking our merchandise right now. You can definitely get that on our Teespring store, and we have a lot more um, designs coming. Right now, we have the St. Valentine's design, the American flag, Ringside Society design, St.
Ooh.
Patrick's. We have one for we have this one, and I believe that's we have the Mardi Gras one that you know inspired us. When I went to Louisiana, so we have that as well, and we have our first ever pro wrestler inspired Ringside Society logo coming soon. Look out for it. We're definitely making it happen. So y'all definitely check us out. Cop some merch. All proceeds from those sales go back into keeping our show afloat. They do not go back into our pockets. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where we have interviews like this one, like the one we have with the crying CM Punk fan. Shout out to Frank. We have several great men and women that have been on our show that you can find on our YouTube channel. All you gotta do is type in Ringside Society, and when you go to YouTube, and once you see that really handsome dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. And as a matter of fact, since it's Friday, I'm feeling so happy. I'm gonna tell you all right now that next week we'll be having two special guests, not on the same day. We're still working on the days, but we'll be having two special guests. One of them is a woman by the name of Raven Lake, who has actually appeared on the PWI Women's 50 several years ago when it first came out. She'll actually be on our show, and we'll be having also Malcolm Flex, who actually is a trainer at the Oregon Pro Wrestling School and has actually wrestled for companies like the WCWC over there in Portland, in Oregon. He'll definitely be on our show as well. So make sure y'all stay tuned to that. Stay tuned for that. And with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in live tonight. We really and truly appreciate it. Thank you very much. We strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could and should listen to, and we will continue to do so. To those y'all that are going to listen later on, we get a chance. Thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away. Well, like myself for the Golden Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. And with
No,
that
we're
being
not.
said, we just
No,
want to let
we're
everybody
not.
know. Yep, 4 years strong. And we just want everybody to know that, we're very well aware to everybody and their grandparents and the parents of a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. And we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. So I'm gonna say it one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for California-based wrestling fan, podcaster, and hopefully crossing my fingers, professional wrestling manager, Wendy Mendez. We're the Wrestling
Thank
Fans
you.
Podcast, Ringside Society, and we'll be back next week with two impressive guests on two impressive episodes. But until then, we just want y'all to do four favors for us. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
Peace.